I think the Liverpool scene has changed. We now have much better clarity and a awesome attacking pick for Liverpool for this upcoming 2 game weeks.
Yeah, and for certain, you need to be getting this player in game week 23 for Ipswich as well as the double game week in 24.
Arise, Sir Philip, the new best FPL asset ever.
Phil Foden.
Or
Fixtures.
it's not looking good, is it?
No. So it's a big decision for captains this week. There's 2 major players in Salah and Isak, but I think for me the choice is pretty obvious, but I'm guessing you feel slightly differently?
I think it's a chance again to punt it.
Oh, okay, fine.
Hello and welcome to the Gameweek 23 episode of Stick to FPL, the Premier Fantasy
League podcast.
There we go.
Premier Fantasy League. It's like a reverse
Yes.
of
I've never been
Premier League.
I've never been a fan of that.
Should we change it?
Yeah.
Any suggestions people have, leave them in the comment section. If you've got anything better.
To be fair, sometimes you don't have to replace something to improve.
No?
We can just
Drop
say
it.
we can just say welcome to Stick to FPL.
That's boring though. Like where's the showmanship?
The showmanship.
Yeah.
Hello
There we go. That's more
and
showmanship.
welcome to Stick to FPL, the show where we try to tell you what is going to happen in the future.
Try. Succeed, I would say. A lot of the time.
We did say Wood won't haul.
Yeah, well, forget about that. Forget about that.
We'll talk about the things where we actually got right.
Yeah.
And we'll try to ignore the things that we got wrong, but I'm sure you'll tell us in the comments.
Yes.
Anyway, we have Game Week 23 on the horizon. First of all, how did your Game Week 22 go so far?
Not bad. Like we are recording this before the Monday night fixture, as we always do, before Chelsea versus Wolves. So we do still have Palmer and Jackson to play. Pretty average, to be honest. Pretty average. Like I don't have Mateta or Cliver or Foden or many of these other players that seem to explode in Game Week 22.
Yeah.
So congratulations if you do have any of those players. I'm sure you've had a very, very nice game week indeed. Trent was my only big scoring player, and obviously Wood, but everyone has Wood at this point.
I feel like he's still kind of like 50%. I feel like not everyone's... Now people are really clamoring in.
Nah, everyone has him.
Everyone has him.
Yeah, like at my rank, he was like 90% owned.
What?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Damn.
It's crazy. The only
Yeah.
people who don't own him are like Stick to FPL subscribers because he doesn't own him. As the only the only person I know in the world of FPL who doesn't have Chris Wood in their team by now.
Wow.
So there you go.
Well, look, I personally have been banging on about Chris Wood for a while. Some people keep looking at his data and questioning things whilst enjoying his points. I feel like you should not be allowed to do that. But if you want to enjoy points for the rest of the season, I have something to help you out.
What's
and
that?
is the Fantasy Football Hub app, website, tool,
Yeah.
everything all in one. You can no longer get a 30-day free trial. And if you didn't use that, then I don't know why you didn't, because I've been banging on about it for about a month and a half. But you can still get a 7-day free trial and try to save your season.
I think you will successfully save your season if you subscribe to Fantasy Football Hub. Like, I think it's just amazing tools. I use it all. I literally have on my laptop screen in front of me Fantasy Football Hub, like I think 7 tabs open right now. So like,
There you go. There's that many tools.
Yeah.
You can crash your laptop.
yeah, basically, or just get a really powerful laptop and then you can maybe go to like 20 tabs. Wow. That'd
Well,
be good.
just one final thing, guys. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Give us a review. You don't have to do 5 stars. You can give us as many stars as you feel confident and comfortable giving us.
Like at least 4.
If it's not 4, I will attack you. But
Don't attack the viewers.
verbally.
Okay. All right. No, fine. I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that.
A bit of roasting, you know. But yeah, let's get cracking. And we have quite a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure.
So let's get started by having a quick chat about our friends Liverpool. Because, again, they are top of the fixture ticker.
Yeah.
Last week, they had what was considered by some a trickier fixture away to Brentford. But
Middling fixture.
we didn't
Not
agree.
good, not bad.
Yeah. But now they're walking into Ipswich, double game week Wolves.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people still need to know who is the best 3 to own.
Which is a fantastic question. And I think we're probably both in agreement that Salah is 100% essential. But we've known this for months at this point. Trent, I personally think you have to have for this double game week, and not even just for this double game week. You need to get him in for game week 23. After that, I think it is maybe a little optional. I think you should go for Alisson because I like these fixtures, particularly the game week 24 game week. I like that more from a defensive point of view than for an attacking point of view. Or maybe that has changed a little bit with the new Everton management under Moyes. And I'm a little bit worried about forward rotation as well. You think not Alisson, you think Cody Gakpo.
I think Cody Gakpo, and that has become more than confirmed with the Jota injury.
Yeah.
Because Jota's out for some time again.
He's going to be out for a minimum 1 or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
He's a little bit longer.
Which just means the only problem to Gakpo is Darwin Núñez.
Yeah.
And it's not even a direct problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like a knock-on effect where Cody Gakpo has been kind of playing left wing. Diaz tends to play up front. They kind of rotate. Darwin Núñez probably is more of an impact sub anyway on his head.
Yeah.
So for me, Gakpo is now nailed in my head. And looking at these fixtures, I'm not mega on Trent. The only reason why I think Trent is second in the scenario of the reason why I think Trent is second in terms of the order of best Liverpool assets is because he's the most nailed sort of asset that can deliver points.
Okay.
But these fixtures aren't brilliant defensively, if you ask me. Bournemouth is a very difficult clean sheet. They've just hammered Newcastle, right?
Yeah. But they're not a team of good finishers. And I know it's crazy to say after Cliver has just delivered 3 of the best finishes we've seen this season all in one game. But they have no natural striker at the moment in their team. Semenyo takes a load of shots, but so few find the back of the net. There's still no Tavernier in the team. They're relying on Jefferson on the bench, and that's their only senior bench attacker at the moment. And you can barely even call him senior. He's been recalled from Watford after failing to score for so far in the Championship. It's I just don't. I know it's crazy to say after game week 22. But I don't see Bournemouth as an elite attack. I don't see where the elite attackers are in that team.
For me, I would not go as far as elite. You're right, but for me, they are a good attack, and Iraola is a brilliant manager.
Yeah,
and I would be concerned at the very least of not keeping a clean sheet. Right, Everton. A little bit of a complicated one.
Yeah, because we got new Everton. It's no longer Sean Dyche, and we saw Everton playing with a little bit more flair. And I'm sure Everton fans will be very pleased to see the changes that we've seen, more attacking football, a little bit more exciting. But I don't think Everton are suddenly, going to be a super attacking team or anything like that. It's
exactly.
Unlikely, right?
It's still the same players. It's still the same team.
Yeah.
But there's this sort of thing in the air now. It's a new manager bounce. It's a Merseyside derby. They're gonna be up for it. It wouldn't be a shock if they concede, but that is for me obviously the most likely clean sheet. So at that point, I think you're probably looking at around about 6, max 8 points, in my opinion,
for Alisson.
Whereas 1 goal across either of that double game week for Gakpo, who for me will very reliably play at least 120 minutes.
I don't think you can guarantee 120 minutes now. I'd look at a minimum of 90, which is like a single game week for most players.
I think he gets 60 across both. I don't think he gets benched. But again, this is my take on minutes, right? You got to decide for yourself how how you see the minutes. But for me, 120 is where I would place it, and I feel like 1 goal isn't much to ask for.
No, I think you can expect 1 goal from him.
Yeah.
Then it's if you get 1 goal in 1 game, and say he gets 8 points for that, and then 2 points for just playing in the other one, it's 10 points for a 7.5-ish forward.
But the ceiling's higher, right? How high is the ceiling?
The ceiling's higher for sure. But I still am a little worried about minutes. And the reason is, 1, Darwin has just scored a brace from the bench, granted. But that has to come into your head. Is Darwin going to get a few more minutes here and there? It's not just about, is Darwin going to play, but is he going to come on pre-60 minutes or something like that? And then we mentioned Jota is going to be out for a couple of weeks. The problem is with Liverpool's double game week, and previously we would have said, yeah, this is a really good thing, but because of the great distance between the first game week 24 fixture and the second one, there's like 2 weeks between the first game and the second game. Jota's going to be back, and for a long periods in the Brentford game when I was watching that, they were crying out for a Jota. They were crying out for a player like Jota in that team, and I think they did miss him. And I know, look, that's just my opinion on things. I'm not as confident on minutes with Gakpo as other people, but I definitely appreciate Gakpo as a pick. I don't want to tell anyone I don't like him as a pick, but I do prefer Alisson, because I also think with the addition to Konate, or reintegration of Konate in this Liverpool team, that's a big boost for them. And, you know, I think we have seen over the past few game weeks, maybe 5 game weeks, with Alisson back and with Konate back, Liverpool have genuinely looked more likely to keep clean sheets in each and every game week. And how many clean sheets have they kept? 2 in 5, which is nothing crazy. But, you know, I think that they definitely can keep some clean sheets here in the next 3 game weeks.
I'm going to throw a couple spanners in. So Konate playing through pain, I hear.
Yeah.
Injections. Problem. I think there's a chance he either doesn't play one of these fixtures, could get injured in one of these fixtures. I don't think that's an unreasonable thing to possibly expect here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not talking about buying Konate.
But because you're saying that is a knock-on effect positive
yeah,
for Alisson,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
So I think that kind of damages the appeal for me a little bit. The one thing that I do want to ask you about is, what about Diaz? Because we've seen some explosive performances from him.
Yep.
Again, I think he's in a similar, slightly less secure boat than Gakpo.
Gakpo is more secure than Diaz, for sure.
But what about Diaz? Is he something that you'd consider?
He has a higher ceiling than Gakpo, and that's like partly because he's a midfielder, classified as a midfielder in FPL, and gets that extra point for goal, gets that clean sheet point. And I think we've seen Luis Diaz be more explosive as an FPL asset so far this season as well. I mean, I'm not. Let's have a look. What's the highest score Gakpo has had in an individual game week this season?
Probably
12 points against Leicester with a goal and assist. Luis Diaz, on the other hand, 13 points against Spurs, 16 points against Bournemouth, 15 points against United, 14 points against Brentford. 4 times we've seen those mega scores that we love in FPL, and in a double game week, he's got double the chance of hitting one of those mega scores. So I don't, you know, if you have Luis Diaz, I'm not about to sell him. There's no way I would sell Luis Diaz, but I still think Alisson and Gakpo do edge him a little bit.
I don't see how you going into a set of fixtures like this. How can you prioritize Alisson over a scenario like Alisson? The best he'll do for you is 12 points, right?
Yeah. Well, saves, bonus.
Okay. Let's say he makes 6 saves in one of the fixtures.
Yeah.
You're looking at an extra 3 points with bonus. So you're now talking 6, double clean sheet.
Yeah.
6, 12,
14,
maybe 15.
If you're extraordinarily lucky, 15.
Yeah.
That's the ceiling.
That's insane, right?
Yeah.
But the ceiling with someone like a Gakpo or a Diaz
is higher.
Feel like it's more achievable.
Don't know if it's more achievable, but it's certainly higher.
I think it's more, okay.
I think it's about as achievable.
Yeah. A personal opinion here again, but I would say it's more achievable. Would it just not be worth the risk? Or what is it that's making you play so safe there?
Well, okay. This is the real reason. And I think for most, well, I mean, I spoke about last pod about how that this is a more strategic move of trying to cover game week 29 in an effective way. But honestly, because it is fairly close, and you know, everyone's going to have their preference, but the preferences are not usually so strong that you're going to kind of destroy your team over it. I think it just comes down to who do you have to replace in your team. If you have Jackson and you hate him, then Gakpo is a really obvious replacement. If you've got like maybe a midfielder that you really don't like, then maybe Luis Diaz is the obvious replacement. For me, I don't want to be on double Arsenal defence anymore. So Alisson is an obvious replacement for Raya in my team.
I got you.
So
you've been caught out. This is like just a you pick rather than the best pick.
No. Yeah, which is why I wanted to clarify earlier.
Okay.
That I do still really like Gakpo as a pick.
Okay.
But I think Alisson is safer and more sensible, particularly long term.
Okay.
And I think that is a genuine advantage to Alisson that you don't get from a Gakpo or a Diaz.
I think that's 100% it, right? Long term, you'd be much happier sitting there with Alisson for the rest of your season than you do with Gakpo or a Diaz.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree with you.
And that ties in a lot to Game Week 29.
Mm-hmm.
Because, if you want to navigate Game Week 29 without using a free hit, without using a wild card, you are going to need every single transfer you can get. If you are bringing in a Gakpo or a Luis Diaz, you're pretty much guaranteed that you're going to sell them again. And you're probably going to sell them in Game Week 29 if Liverpool blank. But anyway, Game Week 29 is going to be a blank game week. Let me tell you exactly what the odds are. The odds of the blanks have changed a little bit over the weekend, so we'll update you on that. So currently, Newcastle versus Crystal Palace have an 81% chance of blanking.
You've reworked this graphic, huh?
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
you flipped the percentages.
It looks better now.
It looks better.
It looks better.
It's cleaner. It makes more sense.
Yeah. So Newcastle, Crystal Palace, 81% chance of a blank in Game Week 29. Aston Villa versus Liverpool, 67% chance of a blank in Game Week 29. Fulham versus Spurs, 33% chance of a blank. Arsenal versus Chelsea, 19% of chance of a blank. And every other fixture is guaranteed to play in Game Week 29. And the way it's going to work is whoever reaches the League Cup final and their scheduled opponent in Game Week 29 will be blanking. So we're waiting for, it'll be after the Game Week 24 deadline, before the Game Week 25 deadline. We will find out for sure who is going to be blanking. And one more note on this one before we move on. The teams that blank in Game Week 29, it is extraordinarily likely that their fixtures will be moved into Game Week 33 for a double. So that is Game Week 29 update for you guys. Be aware if you have too many players, particularly from Newcastle, Crystal Palace, Aston Villa, Liverpool, you could be in trouble in Game Week 29, particularly if you keep adding them to your team.
Possible need for a chip.
Maybe. Yeah. So that's in my thinking. That is really my thinking because, I just want to save my chips for later on in the season, man. I really do.
Your opinion last week was that you shouldn't use a chip this week in Game Week 29.
If you have a triple captain, I would use it.
Sorry, no, so triple captain would priority would be 24.
In 20, 24.
But 29, would you free hit or no?
I just think Game Week 34 is going to be more of an issue.
Let's quickly remind ourselves with what the schedule is likely to look like at the moment. Very likely to say here. So Game Week 24, small double, that's Liverpool and Everton. Game Week 29 is a medium blank, 4 possible teams. Some of them could really put a spanner in your planning, but that's we could argue it's a pretty big blank if Chelsea and Arsenal goes, for example.
It's a medium blank in terms of amount of players and amount of teams blanking, but actually it could be quite impactful depending on how many players from these teams you have.
Yeah. Then we're looking at a Game Week 3 medium double. That's 29 fixtures going into there.
Into Game Week 33, yep.
34 is the FA Cup semi-final blank, with Game Week 36 being the big double where the FA Cup semi-final blankers end up playing their fixture in Game Week 36.
Spot on.
Chip strategy has, again, continued to develop as people thought about it more. And I know you've been thinking about this.
Big time.
So why don't you tell us what you're thinking, particularly with attacking manager, which could be a very powerful chip.
Let me go through all of my chips for chip strategy first, and I'll tell you about the assistant manager, which I think I've got a good idea, but it depends on a few things. Okay. And assistant manager, by the way, is impossible to say for sure right now because it's such a complex chip and there's so many moving parts to it. It's impossible to speculate too far in the future, but it's good to have some ideas. So my current chip plan is to navigate the Game Week 29 blank with transfers alone. And then in Game Week 33, hopefully I should have lots of double Game Week players for that. I'm going to use all of my transfers that I'm saving to navigate Game Week 29 and maximize my double Game Week players in 33. Game Week 34, I'll be looking to free hit.
Sorry, just before you move on.
Yeah.
How can you navigate 29 and 33 with transfers when you need to be selling the players in 29 and rebuying them in 33?
With great difficulty and by saving a lot of transfers.
Okay.
But remember, if you're not bench boosting in Game Week 33, you only need to get to 11 doublers. You're going to have 4 already because they're going to be your bench players in Game Week 29. So you need, realistically, it's going to be difficult to get to 11 anyway. And it's going to be difficult to find 11 good players you want to play.
Well, this is why I'm thinking of a wild card before the 33 double.
Yeah. And a lot of people will be thinking about that. But a lot of people are saying, okay, let's use transfers to 29 and then wild card in 30. But that makes it more difficult for a Game Week 36 bench boost because you're relying on getting all of the right players so far ahead of time when by Game Week 30, you're not actually really going to have much of a clue who will be doubling in Game Week 36. So it definitely is a viable strategy. For sure, it's viable. But it's a little chancier. So, yeah, I'm looking at Game Week 35 wild card straight into a 36 bench boost.
Okay.
If I can last that long.
Okay.
We'll see. Do you want to hear about my assistant manager idea?
Talk to us.
Okay. This is a fun one. Okay. So, assistant manager. And this depends on Spurs beating Liverpool in the League Cup semi-final.
And just to be clear, this is the best use of the assistant managership.
In my opinion, if Spurs beat Liverpool in the semi-final of the League Cup and therefore blank in 29 and double in 33, everyone's going to do this.
Okay.
Like, everyone who knows what they're doing is going to do this, I think. So what it's going to be is Ange Postecoglou and using the assistant manager in Game Week 31. You get a fantastic fixture against Southampton at home. Then you get Wolves away in Game Week 32. Because of those teams being low down the table, you're not going to get any table bonus from them, but there's a lot of chance of goals. So, you can get 1 point per goal. Spurs are a team that scores goals. You can see them against Southampton and Wolves back to back, scoring 4 or 5 goals in those games easily. Points. Maybe they get wins, maybe they don't. That's a different question when it comes to Spurs. But you're getting goals at least. Then we come to Game Week 33. And because Spurs are so low down in the table, playing Forest and Fulham, because that would be their double, it would lead to a table bonus where they would get 16 points for a win and 8 points for a draw. You don't even need Spurs to win these games, and you will get more points from Spurs than you would from a Liverpool. Liverpool gets 6 points for beating anyone in the league because they're top of the table. So Forest, Fulham, in my opinion, Spurs can get results here. I'm not saying they will, but I think it's possible. If there is a managerial change for Spurs as well, that could improve Spurs even more. And the key here is they could have a double game week in 33, and they have a team that scores a lot of goals and can beat teams on their day. You just got hope that it is their day. So maybe it's a little high risk.
That Forest fixture scares me. I don't think they can do it. I'm not sure they can do it.
You don't think they can even get a draw from that?
At home, to be fair, no, they are better.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so possible. So, yeah, that's my current thinking. And I think if Spurs beat Liverpool in the FA Cup semi-final and the double game week is rearranged to 33, this is the play. This is the play.
That's interesting. I've been struggling with the assistant managership, excuse me, just because of the fact that it's hot. You have to kind of take the form at the time into account quite a lot because you're looking at likely outcomes and you're essentially trying to say who will beat who. I know it's assistant manager, but you're basically saying which team is going to beat which team.
It's like betting, really, within the game of FPL.
Yeah, and obviously with Ange being 15th in the table, with Amarim being 13th in the table, they seem like really, really big opportunities. Wolves seem like a really good opportunity.
Yeah.
West Ham, if they've turned a corner, Everton, if they've turned a corner, seem like really interesting opportunities.
Absolutely.
So Southampton, Wolves feel like great shots, but you wouldn't get any of the league bonus, right?
Yeah.
But I wonder whether you could use you can transfer your manager.
You can.
So I wonder whether you start off with 2 other fixtures in Game Week 31 and 32, and then buy Ange for Game Week 33, just to try to maximize that potential. Or I mean, I wonder maybe if you even buy Ange for Game Week 32 with the Wolves fixture, and then you can sort of have someone else for 31, or maybe vice versa. But I just wonder whether it'd be worth gambling on that league table sort of bonus.
And I think that's going to come down to chip strategy as well, because if you're a Game Week 30 wildcarder, you're perhaps going to have a few more transfers spare to navigate your assistant manager chip and make those changes. With the problem is, if we start talking about transferring your manager within the assistant manager chip, then the possibilities are near endless. There are thousands of different combinations of managers each game week that you can use. It's crazy. We can talk and talk and talk. So I think I'm going to attempt to try and stick with one manager. You mentioned kind of Everton, Man United, maybe Wolves, West Ham. The problem with these guys is they're not going to double in 33. 0% chance of doubling in 33. So if you were to go down that route, you would be looking at a game week, 36 is the double. So you'd probably be looking at a 36, 37, 38 kind of assistant manager chip use, which means you're bench boosting in 33.
Yeah.
So that would flip everything.
Yeah. It's tricky. It's tricky. I think it's one that needs a little bit of planning, but I'm sure there's people who's just gonna be like, yep, that looks interesting. I'll do it. We'll just smash it. For me, I think I'm going to play it by ear for now. I can't see myself sticking with one manager because that just doesn't feel like fun to me. I want to use
fair.
I want to use my chip there because it's just such a powerful sort of weapon in my opinion.
Totally fair.
But you'd have to have a really stable team to be able to do that. That's why what you're saying with the wild card makes a lot of sense.
Actually, before we move on, because I know some other people will be asking about playing the assistant manager in game week 24, which is the first week where you can play it. And maybe this is a TikTok clip as well, to be fair. So yeah, there is definitely the possibility to play your assistant manager in game week 24, maybe on Liverpool. So Arne Slot would be your third Liverpool player, and you get Bournemouth, Everton, Wolves, and Man City. No table bonus there though, even though you play a difficult Man City team and a difficult Bournemouth team. I don't know if it's totally worthwhile. So
I'm not keen on a Arteta Arne Slot.
Neither am I, generally.
Yeah.
It's just, it's the ceiling is so much lower.
Exactly. You get the win, you get a couple of goals.
It's boring, it's safe. This is a new chip. Let's have some fun with it, man.
Exactly. And, clean sheets don't look sort of extremely likely, in my opinion, anyway.
It's 2 points for a clean sheet anyway. It's nothing.
So I wouldn't say that Arne Slot is a brilliant option for Game Week 24. He obviously is an option. If they get 2 wins, you're looking at 12 points, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Which isn't awful. It's still pretty strong. But I feel like you should be trying to shoot for 20s and 30s.
Shoot for the stars, man. And then obviously Everton face Leicester, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Man United.
Yeah.
If you were to play your assistant manager on Everton and Moyes in Game Week 24.
Yeah.
But again, Leicester, Crystal Palace, and Man United, you don't get table bonus from any of those teams.
Yeah.
And I would argue that Crystal Palace and Man United are not particularly fixtures that I would count on Everton winning anyway. And you don't even get table bonus if you do beat them.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really work for me.
Yeah. You're looking for Everton to be playing like a Bournemouth, a Fulham, a Brighton, someone like that, where you feel like they've got a shot.
Yeah.
But you've also, if you get the draw, you're not, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, because you've got the table bonus.
Yeah.
So, I don't think Everton works at all. I think it hasn't really laid out perfectly for a Liverpool assistant manager either. And, we've spoken about getting a Gakpo or an Alisson either. I think that's far more exciting than using your third Liverpool slot on a Arne slot.
Yeah.
If you pardon the pun.
Yeah. Plus Man City's away, so
exactly.
It's not brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to some of the forward options quickly. we haven't seen Jackson play,
No.
but we have seen Watkins play, and he's had a really good performance.
Yeah. I think I've maybe done a 180 on Watkins.
Mm.
Maybe not a full 180, but
Is Watkins back?
maybe.
It feels like he's climbing up the table.
Yeah, he is. And his numbers are good, man. And I know that has been impacted by penalties. And I know he's played less games than some of the other players on this list. But, Duran's been available for the last 2 game weeks. And Watkins has continued to start, which has surprised me. Maybe he is back. And he confirmed after the game that he is on penalties.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oof.
Confirmed.
I don't think that's a good thing.
You never know, Watkins. He scored his last few.
I don't trust Ollie Watkins on a penalty.
No?
I just don't trust him. Form dips in and out, but when you know the man, you know his penalties, you know how he's psychologically not built for it.
You think he's psychologically not built for it?
For penalties.
Yeah, okay.
I love Ollie Watkins, and if you're watching, please subscribe. But
if Ollie Watkins is watching, you know how much we've slandered him and his penalties before. You know what? I think dear old Wally Watkins.
Wally Watkins is not happy.
I think Wally Watkins has been on the training ground practicing.
I don't know. It's like Sterling. I don't care how long you practice. Sterling will never be good at penalties.
Yeah, that's pretty fair.
You know what I mean? It's just.
But I don't think Sterling does practice, but I think Watkins wants it.
Yeah.
I think he wants it, man.
Yeah. Well, look, Ollie Watkins possibly on penalties is going to be a great shout.
No, he is on penalties.
Ollie Watkins on penalties is going to be a great shout. Also, I think there's probably a couple of other options to think about here. Dominic Calvert-Lewin for the double.
Come on, don't.
He's on the score sheet.
Don't even start.
Come on.
No.
He's got better data than Chris Wood.
Everyone's got better data than Chris Wood. Come on.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Like Chris Wood, you buy him despite the poor data because he's just a freak. Calvert-Lewin is not a freak. He's just a bloke with bad data.
He's good at headers.
Sometimes. But not always.
He's got the same data as Cody Gakpo, which we're saying is a possibility.
You're the one who wants Cody Gakpo, a.k.a. Calvert-Lewin Mark II. Red Calvert-Lewin.
You're going to have the Dutch marching at your house with pickaxes.
That's fine.
Any other...
Why are they trying to mine in my house? Why they got pickaxes?
Because that's the weapon of choice for the Dutch.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No, that's news to me.
They don't have forks over there, Any other strikers that jump out the screen at you?
As always,
Mateta's been picking up form.
Yeah, penalty impacted it, but no, he's been a great pick. I really like Mateta as a pick, and the fixtures for Crystal Palace keep going. According to the Hub ticker, after Liverpool and Everton with their doubles in this next run of fixtures, Crystal Palace have the best. They have the best. Brentford, Man United, Everton, Fulham, Aston Villa, Ipswich. There's no actually difficult fixture in there, in my opinion. I'd say the worst fixtures here, Man United, Fulham, Aston Villa, are mid-table defences at best, including Fulham, who have dropped off it a little bit.
I don't know if Man United are a mid-table defence, but...
All right, we'll put in relegation defence.
They're literally in the bottom third.
Yeah. For goals conceded, but not chances conceded.
Okay.
And I care more about data than real life.
Football's played on grass.
Yeah.
But, okay, so I think Mateta's an option. I just think maybe people are a little bit distracted by the double, and that can happen sometimes. People see shiny things. So maybe this is something to consider.
And
full transparency, I'm not considering it, despite wanting to pick up a striker soon, just because the double's there. But a lot of times we see doubles burn people, so maybe this is one to think about. Yeah,
but the one other point, though, is that Mateta is currently odds on to blank in Gameweek 29 as well, so you could be creating a rod for your own back there. Really.
Yeah.
The other forward I think that's worth mentioning right now is Wissa. So he's now had that City game in which he scored and that Liverpool game now out the way. He's putting up really good data, particularly for his 6.2 million price tag. If we go back to the fixtures here, his fixtures are really good as well. Palace, Spurs, which for an attacker, Spurs is a green green fixture.
They just shipped 3 to Everton, man.
Yeah.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin scored.
I know. What's going on?
He hasn't scored in like a year.
Yeah. That's the Spurs effect, the Spursy effect. And by the way, maybe look at this later, but actually just throw it on screen now. Spurs' defensive data is on par with Leicester now over the past 10 game weeks.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
They're 0.1 away from Southampton in terms of goals conceded.
Yeah.
Sorry, no.
No.
In terms of one of the numbers, but I've missed it now. Nope, I'm wrong. They're a bit too close to Southampton. Is the point.
They are very close to
make.
Southampton. Yeah. They're in the bottom 3. They are level with Leicester for XGC, expected goals conceded per game, with 2.1. So yeah, this is a dumpster defense.
Yeah.
Which you can kind of understand given their defensive problems.
They've got one starting defender.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not looking good.
Yeah.
At all. But we've said that a million times already. So,
okay.
yeah.
So this is definitely an option to consider.
Yeah, for sure. And no chance of a blank in 29.
No chance of a blank in 29.
So that's good.
Very good. Very good. I want to talk about our friend, Philip Foden.
Yeah, I think I'm going to hear you out on this one. Because he's not on my radar, but I'd like to hear what you have to say.
I'm a little bit annoyed because I had a conversation with you basically 2 game weeks ago, where I said Man City have 2 peachy nice fixtures coming up.
Yeah.
And it would be great fun to pick up one of their players for 2 game weeks, then move on to an Mbeumo or a Gordon.
Yeah.
I did that. My player got 5 points across both game weeks. A certain Philip Foden picked up something like 100 points.
It's not quite 100 points, but I get your point, yeah.
I mean, maybe, listen, 99, 98, tomato. But
what's a
either
tomato?
way, point being, Foden definitely looks like he's turned a corner.
Yeah.
Fixtures aside, he definitely looks like he's turned a corner.
He's back.
The problem is the fixtures are horrid.
Yeah. The worst of the Premier League.
They are literally bottom of the fixture checker. Chelsea at home, Arsenal away, Newcastle at home, Liverpool at home, Spurs away, great fixture. Forest away, arguably the hardest of the lot.
By the way, you say Spurs is an easy fixture. When has Spurs ever been an easy fixture for City?
Again, it's literally their bogey team is the only sort of on paper easy fixture.
Yeah.
So it's not looking good, Bref, is the point that I'm trying to make for Foden.
Nah, horror.
And whilst it does look nice, unless we somehow see City turn a corner, like a real corner of like putting good teams away, I don't think you can even look at Foden. And even if they did put away a Chelsea, it still just doesn't look good enough for you to start to think about City attackers at this point. And I'm going to be offloading my City attacker.
Savinho.
Being Savinho. But I definitely think it was worth the punt over the last 2 game weeks. It was if you picked up a De Bruyne or a Foden.
Yeah, De Bruyne's done well as well.
Haaland obviously didn't. So the 2 players that were looking like they were in form didn't do well compared to the players that didn't look like they were in form, being De Bruyne and Foden. But
Haaland's 4 goals in 4. So
over the last 2, he's got 1 goal though.
Yeah.
That's the 2 good fixtures. They
okay.
City scored like 10 goals in those 2 games, didn't they? Maybe 9 or something.
8 goals in last 2.
Was it 6 and 2?
6 against Ipswich, 2 against Brentford, 4 against West Ham, and 2 against Leicester the week before that as well.
I agree. So like 15, 16 goals and he's only got 4 of them.
When you put it like that.
Yeah. So it's not brilliant. He's got no assists in that as well. But either way, Haaland aside, Foden, I'm assuming that you're of the same opinion with regards to Foden.
Yeah, it's too late. Those who took a punt on Foden, like genuine massive congratulations. It takes a lot of guts to go for a pick like that. He was out of form. You were counting on him improving his form in some easier fixtures, which was definitely a possibility, but it was a huge risk regardless. And this is a risk that's paid off. So those who have already had Foden in their team, congratulations, enjoy the points. Those who missed him, you can't transfer him in and get his points from last week, unfortunately. And I think Chelsea is still a good fixture. I think it's still a good enough fixture. But after that, it's this is all of the worst fixtures that a team can have all in a row, near enough.
Yeah.
it's really bad. Like Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool, Forest are probably widely considered probably the 4 best defences in the league right now. And you play 4 of them in 5 game weeks after Chelsea. That's mad.
Well, I mean, they're basically there data-wise as well.
Yeah, so
Arsenal, Liverpool, Newcastle are top 3.
Yeah.
And Forest are part of the top 7.
And Forest are typical overperformers as well on their data.
Yeah.
So
it's not great.
It's
not
bad,
great.
man.
Plus the bogey team in there as well.
Yeah.
Okay. I think in terms of Foden, I think that's pretty clear.
Yeah.
Savinho in there is really breaking my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any other midfielder that you'd like to quickly talk about? I want to raise Ahmad, but is there anything else that you'd like to talk about?
I think we do need to talk about Kluivert, just because people will be buying him after that performance, which was amazing, by the way. I didn't think he had it in him because this is a guy who's scored prior to this Gameweek 22. He scored maybe 7 goals. I think 5 or 6 were penalties. So it's like, yeah, this guy's just a penalty merchant, right? But then he does something against Newcastle, which was just spectacular. But again, he faces a similar problem to Foden, in which the next couple of fixtures for his team, for Bournemouth, are horror. Next fixture is against Forest, and then he plays Liverpool. After that, though, game week 25 onwards, Southampton, Wolves, Brighton, Spurs, Brentford, Ipswich, West Ham, Fulham. That is a good run. So I think people will naturally be trying to get Kluivert as quickly as possible. I think probably give it 2 weeks. I think we've got time to assess this one before we make big statements. But he is on the list of top 18 midfielders for data. He is on that list.
Yeah. Does the 3 penalties fall into this 6 game week window?
Let's see here. It does not. No, that was in game week 13.
So over the last 9 game weeks,
I think he's had 1 or 2 penalties in that period, to be fair. In the last 6.
I don't think he has. I don't think he has.
He scored one against Chelsea, right? Game week 21, because he came off the bench and scored the penalty.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so in the last 9 game weeks, he's had 2 mega hauls and he's basically blanked in everything else.
Yeah.
Aside from the Chelsea 6.0.
Yeah, 8.0, which was due to a penalty.
Okay.
So he has been consistently blanking, but then pulled out a couple of mega pointers.
For me, it's just not it.
No.
He reminds me of a Maddison this season. And Maddison normally is a good pick, in my opinion. But this season, it's just turned out that he's become like a blankety blank. Boom!
Yeah.
Blankety blank.
Yeah. And by the time you hold him through all of the
it just
blanks, it doesn't even out as very many points at all.
Exactly.
You average in like 3 or 4 points a game, which is not good enough.
Exactly. So yeah, for me, it's not it. The data's not brilliant. I mean, he sat there next to Iwobi. It's just not for me.
He's not in great company.
Your boy Saw has properly fell off.
Yeah, plummeted. Really not good. And I definitely think he should be a player on the chopping block, which depresses me to say that this one hasn't paid off. But we have to be honest and talk about what's in front of us. Created nothing, didn't shoot against West Ham. It was the opposite of a performance that you want. Who does face Brentford at home next. And I think, like, when we talk about these 5.5 or 5 to 6 million players, these are players we probably should be thinking about benching occasionally anyway. So if you have the option to bench him, we know Rodgers has great fixtures in the next few. So, maybe he's a player to bench whilst you wait for news on who is blanking and who is doubling. Well, mostly who's blanking in 29. Because if Crystal Palace are blanking in 29, goodbye, Saar.
Tools.
Yeah. So yeah, not happy.
Okay, let's quickly fly through a couple of topics.
Did you want to say Ahmad?
I was just going to say that next.
Okay,
so Ahmad is an interesting one. United are not good.
Nope.
They are bad.
Yep.
Ahmad is not.
Southampton will make any FPL asset look like the best FPL asset in the world.
Except for Bruno,
apparently, yeah.
He is still a decent option.
I agree he's a decent option.
But the sentiment prior to the Southampton game from us was that he's probably second in the 5 to 6 million.
Certainly below Rodgers.
Yeah. Do you still hold that?
Yep. No change there. Still below. And I think game week 22 was a bit of a reality check for Ahmad owners. Like, respectfully, enjoy the points, of course. I know I sound so bitter when I say this. Respectfully enjoy the points. Having him against Southampton was like masterclass from you guys. Like, you have to be real. But against anyone else, Man United as a team are not going to have such a good time. And, you know, maybe we saw that against Brighton and we'll see that against some of their future opponents, I'm sure.
That's M. Fernandez over there. That's Southampton's M. Fernandez. Yeah.
Weirdly good data.
He pops up on my notifications occasionally.
Yeah.
I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
Why I was like, oh, is that Bruno?
No, the wrong Fernandez.
Okay. Anyway, let's quickly fly through some of the defender data. Trent topping the list, but there's not brilliant numbers that he's putting up. He's sat next to Roslev.
Pretty good.
0.4 XGI.
Per game, that's all right. Like Chris Wood, remember, is like 0.2, 0.3 XGI per game. So
yeah, but okay, so he's sat at 7.2 million. Let's say
Chris Wood's similar.
No, forget Chris Wood.
Yeah.
You can get 5.6 million Ahmad.
Yeah, but Ahmad doesn't get 4 points for a clean sheet.
Okay, fair enough. The Trent is amazing data.
Thank you.
0.4 XGI. You should buy him immediately.
Yes.
He is brilliant.
Yeah. Definitely. Of course.
And if you can't afford him, you can get Roslev, who is almost exactly as brilliant.
Okay. Roslev has bad fixtures. Well, actually, he has pretty good fixtures. I'll tell a lie. He has okay fixtures the next two. Has no double game weeks and plays for a significantly worse defence. Okay. So let's not go there.
Okay. Munoz has been climbing and climbing.
I'm a fan of Munoz. I am a big fan of Munoz generally.
Gvardiol probably not in the thinking at the moment because of those fixtures.
Yeah.
Gabriel has had, I feel like he's been dodging points recently. He's had a assist and a goal basically taken off him because he didn't actually touch it, which is fair. But I feel like that goal wouldn't have happened if he wasn't doing.
No, it's like a technicality assist, like a physical assist rather than a actual touching the ball kind of assist.
We got Robinson, Mr. just collects assists like the toys. Nothing really jumping out from the defenders tally.
No, and I think we're going to be looking at having Trent in our team for sure.
An Arsenal defender.
Maybe. I don't think that is as essential as it was before. But yeah, maybe an Arsenal defender. And then you just make up the rest of the spots with the likes of Munoz, Robinson, Hall. And then, we're going to have a whole other conversation about Nottingham Forest defenders, which the overall player base in FPL are obsessed with Forest defenders. I think the content creators, we're maybe a little blind to them.
Do you think? Well, our friend Aina, who basically gets an attacking return every game week recently.
Yeah, and basically costs the same as Trent by this point, by the way.
Isn't on here. But what's his name? The guy whose name starts with an M, who's really tall, gets lots of headers.
Oh, Milenkovic.
That's the one.
Yeah.
He seems to also pop up quite a lot.
Yeah, he got a goal disallowed.
He did.
As well this week.
He did. Very interesting. Very interesting, I think.
I just think
timing though, right?
Yeah, and go back to the fixtures real quick. Forest have Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham in the next three. It's a bad time to play Bournemouth, without doubt. Brighton, I don't know. I never really know what to think about Brighton. Fulham, again, they're somewhere in the middle, aren't they? But after that, Newcastle, Arsenal, Man City, and the bad fixtures just keep rolling on. So if you haven't got your Forest defender by now, I don't think you're going there at this point. The time to buy was maybe last week against Southampton, but you probably missed the boat on that one. Maybe. But not saying they're bad. I just don't think I would buy them if I didn't have them already.
I got you. Okay, so gun to your head. Buy a defender not named Trent.
Okay. I think I'm on Lewis Hall.
Lewis Hall. Okay.
Oh, he's probably going to blank in game week 29.
And the fixtures aren't brilliant.
Yeah. And same with Munoz, who I like.
You took too long, you're dead.
Okay.
Right, Captaincy. You got Lewis
totally
Hall
valid.
and you're dead.
Oh, that's totally valid. Can I ask you, who would you go for?
If I think I would go for Everton defender.
Like a Mikalenko.
Yeah, just for a bit of fun, you know what I mean?
For the double.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that's a pretty good shout. Yeah, I like it.
Let's talk about captaincy.
Yeah, Gameweek 23.
So far, been a pretty awful captaincy for Gameweek 22. We'll see what Cole Palmer does. But I think we're probably expecting a better week for captaincy next week with this at least 2 very good fixtures on there.
Yeah, I think certainly if you Gameweek 23 captain, we're looking at Salah and Isak primarily because they both are 2 players probably in the best form in the entire Premier League. Maybe Chris Wood fanboys will have something to say about that. But, you know, Salah and Isak for me are the top 2 players in the Premier League on form right now, and they're both playing newly promoted teams. I'd say Southampton is the slightly easier fixture, but it's away. Ipswich have just lost 6-0 to Man City, and we think Liverpool are a better team than Man City. If you know, Foden can do that against Ipswich, what can Salah do? That could be huge.
I'm going to say something a little bit stupid.
Go on.
Salah always does this.
Mm-hmm.
He has a brilliant start to the season and then he forgets how to play football.
Yeah. The AFCON effect, usually.
I think he's forgot how to play football.
What? Because he's blanked in 2 game weeks?
He's blanked for 2 game weeks.
You were right when you said you were about to say something stupid. So you're right on that one.
Look, I feel like Mo Salah has been running so hot that it's just it had to cool down. He's been running at a rate that has been humanly impossible, never seen in the history of FPL.
I agree.
Despite the fact that Ipswich at home, I feel like it's another reasonably decent opportunity to punt it and go Isak for Southampton. Because I feel like that Southampton fixture is a guaranteed minimum 1 goal.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be stunned if Ipswich somehow kept Liverpool down to like 1 or 2-0.
No. That I have a problem with. I think if Newcastle is scoring, you would imagine Isak is involved in those goals. I think if Liverpool are scoring, it's probably going to be Salah. But, you know, we could see Luis Diaz, Gakpo, Trent, Darwin, McAllister, Szoboszlai, and then there's some out of players maybe getting on the score sheet as well. So it's a really tough one. I don't know.
Good week to get lucky.
Yeah. So what you saying that you're genuinely thinking captain in Isak over Salah right now? Do you have the guts to go through with it?
Of course.
You do?
I'm 1.2 million, bruv.
You're a gutsy guy.
I will captain Enzo Fernandez. You know, but obviously,
no, Salah for me, man.
I think it's one that can easily backfire. But captaining Isak away to Southampton is not a bad captain shout.
No.
So how bad can it go? It's one of those. It's one of those for me, and I feel like it's an opportunity to swing against. There's going to be a huge clamour for Salah this week, and not so much for Isak, especially after that loss. But
yeah,
I think it's a good one.
I think it's tighter than it might seem. I think a lot more people will captain Salah. But the difference between the points of Salah and Isak is probably tighter than the discrepancy in actual captaincy would suggest. And therefore that does suggest it's maybe a good week to punt on Isak. But outside of that, I don't think there's a single player I'd be super interested in.
Okay, let's quickly talk through differential of the week because I'm closing the gap.
You've won a week.
Only 41 points between us.
Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah. You've won Gameweek 22.
Picked up 2 points more than you did.
you still blanked. We said, I mean, I can't really gloat or talk because my Savinho didn't even get off the bench in Gameweek 22. I thought that was going to be a 6-0 against Ipswich and 0 points for Savinho.
He's in my team.
Yeah.
This was the worst possible outcome of all the outcomes that could have happened for me because my player blanked and your player got 0 points. I ended up getting 0 points. Enzo's not in the squad, so I've gave Mikalenko's 1 pointer. Everything is awful, but at least I'm 2 points closer to you in the league.
True. But you also broke Einer's great run of form.
Did I?
Yes.
Elanga, you mean?
Sorry, Elanga, yeah.
I
You
did.
broke his great run of form. He was on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 consecutive returns until you picked him as your differential of the week and cursed him. It's what you do.
I don't know what to say. He even had an assist that was chalked off. But alas, we move on. I'm going to ask you who your differential is first.
Okay. I've gone De Bruyne.
You've gone De Bruyne.
Yeah. And I've gone De Bruyne because of who you picked. If I'm totally honest. I pulled out a big gun.
Was there not any sub 5% fun fixtures this game week?
No,
No?
not really. Like Liverpool have a nice fun fixture.
Gakpo and Diaz are outside of it now as well.
These are players who everyone has. Newcastle.
Darwin Nunez?
No. I'm not picking him, but that's not a player I'm going near for differential of the week. I want to win. I'm probably going to.
What, you think you're going to bottle a 40-point lead?
You never know.
You never know.
You never know. I'm an Arsenal fan, so I know a thing or two about bottling a lead. So yeah, I've gone for De Bruyne because I love him as a big game player. He's in good form at the moment. Chelsea at home, which I think is a fixture that suits him, particularly as Chelsea aren't looking too hot at the moment.
He does love to play Chelsea.
He does. Lots of avenues to points. Set piece taker. Minutes maybe a slight concern, but City need to win games in the Premier League, and De Bruyne is going to be a huge part of that. So, yeah, I'm going to try it out with De Bruyne this week, going with the big guns to compete with your perhaps even larger gun. Who is it?
Heung-min Son.
It's a large gun.
5.0% owned because a few people sold him because he was 5.1 last week.
Right. Have you just been waiting for Son to dip to 5% owned so you could pick him for differential of the week?
I was trying to pick him the week he was injured,
where
he smashed it, but I couldn't pick him because he wasn't declared fit, and then he played and scored. But anyway, Leicester at home, Spurs have to do something at this point. It's just looking so ugly, so grim. Leicester suck. Spurs also suck. This is a proper relegation dogfight. But, I mean, surely Son will do something.
Yeah.
Plus, Solanke's out.
For a month.
Yeah. So I think Son could be playing up front, which just makes him infinitely better for FPL.
Agreed.
Not brilliant for the team, but just FPL-wise, he just becomes a monster. I think I could close the gap this week.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, actually. I think Son definitely has that potential to do a 20, 25 pointer.
I'm thinking 41 to be exact.
41 pointer. It's never been done before in the history of FPL.
Yes, it has. Double game weeks.
I don't think a player's got 41 points even in a double game week. Have they? 40 is 40 or 40 the record, maybe?
I think De Bruyne has definitely had 30.
Yeah, I've seen players do 30 odd, yeah.
Well, I'll take a 30. I'm not going to be greedy.
Well, that is still very greedy, and I don't think 30 has been done in a single game week either. And it is a single game week.
It has been done in a single. Aguero scored 5, but he was in a midfielder, so that wouldn't have been 30.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Well, let us know in the comments who scored 30 points in a single game week. I'm sure someone's done it.
Yeah, they have.
Okay, I'll take 25.
No, they haven't.
God, you want me to be so damn generous?
Yes.
I'll take 25 points.
I just don't want you to catch up with me in one game week somehow. Can you imagine?
Let's quickly look at our teams. I'm currently sat on a red arrow, 40 points, 1.2 million with 3. Oh, you thought so. I thought I had 3 players remaining, but Enzo didn't make the squad. So I've got 2 players remaining and Mikalenko coming off the bench. I'd even have Fabianski. I'd prefer Fabianski coming to my midfield, but apparently that is not allowed. So I've got Raya 1 point, Castagna 6, finally my GP getting points. Timbers 1 point, Trent 11, Enzo and Palmer yet to play. Mo Salah 6, Rogers with the 1, Isak Blank 2 points, Jackson yet to play, and Chris Wood with a 12-pointer.
Nice.
Reasonable game week. I should probably sneak into a green arrow with Jackson, even if he blanks, I reckon.
Yeah, even if he blanks, you should be at least a grey arrow.
Yeah, which will probably land me in around about 1.1 million, sorry.
Yeah.
But that's just wishful thinking. Game week 23 lineup at the moment. The plan is to sell Mr. Savinho because it was only ever a 2-game week punt. And I think I'm going to go Gordon. I know what you've said about this game week 29 blank, but sometimes you just have to not have like this sort of big blinker of like being so focused on the double game week or the blank game week. Game week 29 is miles away. I got to play what's in front of me. It's Southampton. Gordon is in brilliant form. I got to have it.
Mbeumo, though. Why didn't you just have Mbeumo?
I prefer Gordon this week.
This week? Yeah, I prefer Gordon as well. But I think after that, I arguably prefer Mbeumo.
I can buy Mbeumo for Enzo. I need to get rid of Enzo anyway.
How are you going to fund all of this?
I've got lots of money in the bank.
Only 2.1.
Well, so I've got
Because Enzo's going to have to go as well.
I've got 2 free transfers.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to bench Enzo this week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sell Savinho to Gordon.
Downgrade Jackson to Gakpo, I'm guessing.
I'm probably gonna downgrade Jackson to Gakpo.
You're going to do both. Yeah, you could do both those transfers this week, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that would mean I completely sort of reduce my exposure to Chelsea, which I feel like has been ruining my season over the last 6 game weeks. I've tumbled down from about 600, 700k. And it would just mean I'll be a lot better set up for the double, which is what's in front of me. I'd have Gordon, which is what's in front of me. And then from there, I can figure out what I'm going to do for, other players. Mo Salah, by the way, predicted 15.2 points for that double game week.
Madness.
That might be the highest predicted I've ever seen in my life.
Have you got 2 frees?
I do have 2
and
frees.
you think you're going to use them both? Is that what you're saying?
I rolled to do these moves.
Okay, fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Let's look at your team.
Okay. So I'm currently on a red arrow. I'm praying for something from Jackson to get me back into the green, but you guys who are listening to this will know the result of that by this point. So we'll see. But yeah, like it's a little disappointing to have left Castagna 6-pointer and Kirkes scored 7-pointer on the bench. And really, the only players that scored any points for me were Alexander-Arnold with 11, Wood with 12, Hall with 4. Which is barely a return. And I'm just waiting on Palmer and Jackson. But blanks everywhere else. I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest. I think I was hoping for a little bit more, particularly the Arsenal defenders, both with 1-pointers. Raya 1 point, Gabriel 1 point. Not good enough, really. But points on the bench, which I know a lot of people hate having points on the bench, but I usually take it as a positive sign that, we've got a good, strong squad that can help us out in the future. And I think these bench options will be able to help me out in the future. So, game week 23, I've already made a transfer.
Oh,
yeah. To beat a price change. Raya's gone and Alisson's in.
Oh, wow.
I've locked it in.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. All that PR. It's because you've done the move.
I've already done it.
You are well cheeky. I mean, look, Ipswich at home, you're probably expecting a clean sheet. And then you walk into a double. It's not like the end of the world, but I just feel like you're losing out on that Gakpo,
strategic,
on that Diaz, on that Arnie slot, on some serious points.
Listen, when we get to game week 29 and you're panicking saying, I've got 2 players playing in this game week and I don't know what to do, Dan, I'll be saying, well, I did tell you.
Good thing I have a free hit, right?
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. I'm not, look, if you're having different chip strategies and stuff, I totally get going different routes, but I think this is the one for me. So it's personal for my team. I've saved a little bit of money, bought Alisson at 5.4, sold Raya at 5.6, so I made a little tiny bit of profit there. My team value is, I think, 106.2 million or something like that.
Down.
Yeah, crazy.
Would you not consider starting Jackson over Ismail Assar?
Well, this is my problem. Currently, I'm starting Alisson, Trent, Gabriel, Hall in defence, Salah, Palmer, Gordon, Sarr, Rodgers in midfield, and Isak, Wood up front. I think I should probably play Jackson, but I don't really know for who. I'm definitely playing Rodgers.
So
at home to Brentford. If it was away, I'd say maybe.
I reckon you bench Salah.
Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? Wood, Bournemouth away. I don't think you can bench Wood right now, even if it is a tough fixture. And if Bournemouth do to Wood what they did to Alexander Isak, then Wood's not getting a sniff. So there's a possibility of benching Wood. But I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, anyone in the comments have any strong opinions of who should be benched. If Jackson goes off against Wolves, then I might have a different idea. I'd like to see Jackson get back in some form. If he gets 1 goal against Wolves, I think that's good enough for me to just play him.
Yeah, just Man City away just feels like such a Jackson fixture. I'd be very nervous about benching that. But
no, and I don't want to, and I probably won't. But I just until I see Wolves versus Chelsea, I can't make a decision. So he's on the bench by default.
Okay, well that's everything for today. Is there something that I've missed?
No, not as far as I'm aware.
Well, I think that is everything. We have I think the season is really feels like it's coming towards the peak now. Feels like this is like the now or never point of the season.
Yeah.
And you have just these last probably 5 game weeks where you still can have a measurable impact on your final rank. And I think after that point, you're looking like plus or minus 300, 400k in rank. So I feel like these next few game weeks could really define the season.
I don't know. I think the next few weeks are kind of the calm before the storm.
You think so?
In many ways, yeah. Because I think the double and blank game week time of the season is going to be crazier than ever this year. And I think that's where we could see some big swings. So I think for me right now is about just trying to remain calm and try and plan and prepare to make some major gains in those final parts. So I think it's about patience for me right now. Okay. But you're feeling pretty aggressive, I feel, in FPL terms.
I'm feeling quite aggressive. Like, I mean, I did the Savinho move a couple of weeks ago. Like, I'm going to bring in Gakpo now. I just feel like now is the time to really punt it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I have little to lose as well. I feel like you probably have more to lose by being risky at this point in the season. Probably a lot smarter for you to be risky towards Game Week 33, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, like now is the time to rise. So,
but I think that's good. I think we're both in different situations. We're both coming at this slightly differently. It means that we can give slightly different opinions, and then people who are listening can take a bit of each column and kind of figure out what works for them.
Okay,
maybe.
Well,
nice.
Thank you very much for watching. As always, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, review 4+ stars, or roasting will commence.
Yeah. Well, last week you told people to roast my hair.
Did people roast it?
No, they were complimentary.
Oh.
It had the opposite effect of what you wanted.
Wow.
Unlucky.
You're all soft.
No, they're not.
You're all
they're just
soft.
fashionable.
And you're all liars.
You don't
on top
understand
of that, which is
fashion,
worse.
Sim. That's
which
the
is
problem.
Which is worse. Anyway,
Everyone loves the mullet.
Mr. Dan,
Yeah.
can you leave us with some kind words?
No. Because you did this last week. You've done this a couple of weeks now. I'm going to have to shut this down at some point.
Doesn't feel nice, does it?
No, it doesn't feel nice at all. And that's what I wanted to be, the person asking you it, so I get to feel nice and you get to feel horrible.
Okay, well, I will leave the people with some nice words.
Oh, you've got some?
I don't, but I'm going to try to come up with them as I talk.
You know what? We'll take turns.
Okay.
But I think this is your week to leave the people with some words of wisdom before we leave.
When you meant take turns, I thought you said like one word at a time.
Well, what kind of message would that end up being? Should we find out?
Please.
Okay. So,
make
every
decision
with
validity
and
conjure
and
prosperity
or
hatred,
but
don't
ever
listen
to
Daniel. Thank you very much. We will catch you next week.